Welcome to Fearlessly Made You. I am your host, Kristie Tobias. Joining me today are guests just striving to dominate in their personal and professional lives while answering the question, what does it mean to be fearlessly made? Welcome back to Fearlessly Made You. On this episode of Fearlessly Made You, I yet again have brought someone that I not only admire, but who's also inspired me. And truly, again, as usual, I love bringing my friends on. So someone who I'm excited for y'all to learn more about his story. But before we get there, as y'all know, I always like to remind you, Fearlessly Made You is a spinoff of the book, Fearlessly Made You. And it's about that conversation around the things that we go through. You know, for me, it was my post-traumatic stress disorder, which I continue to go through, but the trauma, the uncomfortable moments, bringing those to light, putting a story behind them so that we all can connect and engage in this journey we call life, but really own it. So it's not allowing the fear that we acknowledge exists to own us, but us in return actually owning our journey. So as always, too, the people that I love connecting with and engaging with are also people that help support the show. So we have the beautiful, wonderful Dillards, who has outfitted me again in a quite fabulous outfit. You're welcome. But really, they are also just part of this journey because there are so many ways that they connect in the community and connect with the story. And you guys have had a chance to meet a couple of our dear friends that represent Dillards who have shared their stories as well. So we always thank Dillards for being a part of this show for us. And also for sharing their story. Like I said on this episode, I'm excited to share the story of someone who truly just blows me away, Victor Luna. Victor and I met because he graciously had me dance. I know, y'all, I was dancing on Life's a Dance here in Pensacola, Florida, June of this year, June of 2022. This might be 2023 when you're watching this, June of 2022. And it was just a hit. It was phenomenal. So if we think about Dancing with the Stars, think about that in Pensacola. We actually had some people from Dancing with the Stars there, but I am not going to divulge all that information because I want you to hear the story of Life's a Dance, the story of Victor through his eyes and through his words. So Victor, welcome to Fearlessly Made You.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I am so excited. I think this is the first time that we are actually getting to chat when we are not dancing, which is great.
Correct. Yeah. No dance shoes, no mirrors.
Me not trying to take you out, you know, those.
Yeah, that too.
That too. So Victor, one of the things that I love to just kind of talk with each person that gets to be part of Fearlessly Made You about is just you, who you are, your background, how you got to this place, because when I say I was blown away with Life's a Dance, I mean the journey behind it. Because one of the cool things about that was, and you'll talk through this journey too, there were dancers from across the community. And right when I signed on to Life's a Dance, I moved to Atlanta. So we had, 6 rehearsals maybe? Maybe that, where everyone else had the chance to rehearse every week. And Victor was so good with me. He was able to really put together. We had so much fun. Yeah. We had so much, and you put together something that made sense for me not being there, which was amazing. But I'm jumping the gun a little bit.
Yeah, we picked the fastest song in the whole show.
Because that made sense. Oh my gosh, all the turns and things.
But I think we clicked and it vibed together, so that was a good thing.
Well, and what was so funny was the last part that I learned ended up being the one part on stage I remembered.
I think you did great.
I did all right. Yeah. It was the beginning. I was like, there was that moment of being on stage and just saying, we're doing this and seeing the results. So I want you start with your journey, start with Life's Dance, wherever you want to go. I want people to get to know you.
Yeah, I started dancing right out of high school. Wow. A little late for most competitors. Yeah. So there's 2 sides of dancing. There's a social side and there's a competitive side. I sort of social danced with my parents when we were in California, not really big into it. At the same time, it's interesting because everybody thinks, wow, it's in your blood, so on and so forth. But of course, I felt like I struggled with it when I first started. So when I first started working in a studio, I started to learn how to actually teach it, the fundamentals of it, the almost like you would learn like ballet. You would learn the intricacies of it all. And so once I started learning it and started moving, I wanted to go, okay, look, I think I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so I'm going to wait to compete a little bit. So, but I was pushed to compete a little at the same time, and thank goodness, because I felt like when they felt I was ready, my mentors when I was ready, I jumped into it. And it's a different life, and it's a huge ballroom in Latin dancing is huge in the United States, and it's huge all over the world. And I think that's where I've been hugely blessed by being able to learn more than just the little part of ballroom, but I learned all about life and wrapped it all around. And that's why, for one, I call the show Life's a Dance. And I think that when you look at that, it entitles everyone. I've had everybody on my show. I try to have everybody on my show, regardless if you can walk, if you have any ailments, any injuries. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. And at the same time, I love the fact that when everybody gets asked to do this, very rarely do I have somebody say no. And I'll say most of the time it's, oh yeah, sign me up. Can my husband do it too? So on and so forth, right? Or is my wife able to do it with me at the same time? It's been a blast doing it. And like I said, going back to me in my training, I competed for a good 11 years.
Wow.
Like on the biggest circuit in the United States, throughout the world. I was very blessed to be able to go do shows all over the world. I did a couple of cruise ship shows as well too. That was really cool. Yeah, that's a side story, but at the same time, it was a blast. So I got to see the world a lot. I got to do a lot of shows where most of the people can't even speak the same language you're speaking, or vice versa. But at the same time, dancing is dancing, and you get it. You see a face that it makes you smile. And dancers are emotional. What I mean? I want to put that in there because I think it would go great with this communication, this talk. Is that especially ballroom dancers. If you ever watch the show So You Think You Can Dance, it's much different than Dancing with the Stars.
Yes.
So on So You Think You Can Dance, they don't want to see so much of a fake face.
Right.
Right? But in ballroom, we're taught to go with the music. So if the music is very dramatic, you're very dramatic, right? So you and I danced to a very happy, go-lucky type of...
Dance to Janelle Monáe Tightrope. If you don't know that song, go ahead and download it now.
Download it, yeah, for sure.
Very upbeat, very exciting, and as you said earlier, very fast. Didn't realize how fast it was.
More importantly, though, from a dancer's aspect, I really tuned into that song and the lyrics with you.
Yes.
Like it was a no-brainer when you picked that song, because I usually pick the songs.
Right.
I usually say, because somebody will send me a song and I'll go, you like it, but not everybody else I think in the show will like it, or the audience I should say. So obviously that's something we look at as well. But you picked a great song, but the lyrics to it really, really hit home. And it was so much you. It's all of this. Being fearless, being, as a woman, I have 2 daughters, so I look at that same thing and I want them to have the same things that I was able to have as well. And so looking at the show itself and how big it has gotten, it's gotten so big because of all the personalities and everybody that is brought, and the hard work that everybody does to do it. So.
Well, and it's, Victor, there's so much to unpack there, which I love. And I'm actually just going to call this Fearlessly Made You with Victor, and just let him run the show because, you've downloaded so much perfectly. Like everything that I wanted to make sure that our team got a chance to hear, the Fearlessly Made You crew got a chance to hear, I think you've hit it so well. Like there's that passion, there's that emotion that goes into dance, but it's more than that. It's the show and the people that you bring on. There was such a community aspect at Life's a Dance where everyone was supporting each other. It's those moments where, yes, there were people that were competing, but no one was really a competitor.
Correct.
We were all there together, and y'all created that environment. And the cool thing, too, that I love is not just hearing, from your perspective, Life's a Dance and the why and the purpose behind it, but your lens of being a dancer and creating something with people who may not have dance as part of what they do, but can come together and align it with how do I live life and how do I express that. The thing I really loved about you, because when Victor asked me to do the show, of course, as everyone said, absolutely, for sure. And he always asked, like, have you danced at any point? And really random fun fact is I accidentally used to teach like Latin dance, salsa, merengue, and bachata. My first year in college, I had a friend who wanted to start this Latin dance club. and he needed an instructor. I was a competitive cheerleader, so I'm really good at like taking instructions and doing what people tell me to do. So not anymore. Different conversation.
A different road.
Different road. But so I had like a little tiny bit of background, but it was so cool. I've always wanted to do something like this because of exactly what you said. Yeah. You can express yourself. You can bring out that emotion and that drama. Yeah. And the other thing I did love was that you so connected with something that was important to me, which was, what is the song? And it was one of those, I was like, I want it to mean something. Like, I want it to represent something. And I love that. So I think you'll align with this. What I really want to go back to a little bit, though, is your career as a dancer. Because it's so cool dancing alongside Victor. Like, oh my gosh, when you stand in front of that mirror and start showing moves, you're always a light. But I'm like, I'm just going to watch because it's amazing.
That's so funny you say that, because I wasn't always like that.
Interesting.
I think when I first started, like I said, I was so worried about learning how to do it right. But one of my biggest mottos is emotion always brings motion, right? Yes. So if you have a fast song as you want to be able to create that motion like you're just happy, you're excited, you're ready to do this, you're ready to do that. But I didn't know that in the beginning, right? Of course, I had to learn, like everybody else in life, you have to learn how to get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it was a journey, and it's been a journey, but it's been a great journey at the same time, because everybody wants to do something fun.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that brings Dancing with the Stars and how long it's lasted, is that every song can be different. And you can almost hear the same song and somebody can portray it a little different, but very similar at the same time. And so my journey with this is being able to adapt to different songs, being able to choreograph. I've danced or choreographed to certain songs a million times, but having to do it somewhat different for somebody else is always the challenge and the fun. At the same time, it's awesome to hear stories like you had and still have, looking at it and going, this is what it did for me, and so on and so forth. That's what I get out of this.
Yeah.
Right? So it's so awesome to, I don't know if you thought about this, but we did our dance. It was great. We had a great time. I don't think we didn't show our teeth the entire time. We were smiling so big and so happy. When we go to do our bow and we go to walk to the front to do it, that is sort of my proudest moment of what I've done for the show. Because when you're doing that, the man is bringing the woman forward and presenting her. But I was presenting you to do, as you did this routine. And so to myself, that's where I feel like I'm doing this and, patting myself on the back. And I'll tell you, more people need to do that.
Agreed.
Because as a perfectionist as you are, you're very rare, honestly, in my opinion, that you did that. Yeah. I think we did that in the 6 lessons we had every 5 seconds. It was so crazy. At the same time, you have to do that, though. Yeah. I say that. I'm such a big stickler on that, because someone will do something that they're not used to doing. An amateur is not used to doing certain lifts, or drop a dip or something like that. And they get up and they just go, oh, we did it. Yes. That's great. I go, no, you did it. That's like awesome. Pat yourself. Yeah. So it's huge that it's been able to bring that for me as well too, and see that light of it as I enjoyed as a professional, being able to go do all those shows and get the applause and everything like that. So it's been awesome.
I love the celebration part of that, because I think that's the piece that, to your point, we don't celebrate ourselves enough. Mm-hmm. I think we put in so much work to do, the show, to do whatever it is that we're putting our purpose towards. And then when it's finished, it's like, well, that was the expected outcome. It's like, but hold, you put in the work to get there. Yeah. And I think too, especially now, we're in this really weird place, I feel like, in life where we are trying to refigure out how to do things. And I think more so now than ever, celebrating those wins, celebrating those victories, celebrating the things that you stepped out of your box to do, I think is so magical and powerful. And it's interesting because I'm so excited because Life's a Dance is coming back. Mm-hmm. Which is going to be amazing. One of the cool things that I liked about Life's a Dance is it stays with you. Like, there's still the pictures and videos I'll go back to. We had the chance to meet some of the Dancing with the Stars friends. Danielle, Pasha. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. By the way, y'all, if you've ever watched Dancing with the Stars, and I wasn't a huge Dancing with the Stars person. I never really watched it. Not in a bad way, just I don't watch a ton of shows. But I would always pick up on it. It was always one of those shows, though, I always was like, if I were to ever, like I'd want to do. So getting to do that with Life's a Dance was amazing. But getting to meet these people who work tirelessly on this show, and for them to, you having that connection with them and them wanting to be here, they were more excited than we were, I feel like.
Yeah, no, they are.
It was amazing.
Well, I'll tell you, and I need to say this as well too, is that I'm very lucky to have an amazing partner. My wife does so many things behind the scenes, but more importantly, she has a very similar passion for people. Not just in different areas, but for me, it's dancing. Of course, for her, it's fitness and just being an awesome human. You know, really helps.
Shout out to Melanie Luna, who's not here today, but we love and adore. I mean, an amazing woman.
The show has gotten so big mainly because of her personality and the. You know, of course, I've never met a person who smiles so much.
All the time.
Wakes up, smiles.
All the time.
Happy. Wake up and I need to, you know, like.
Please give me
give me a second. Don't ask me something serious right now. But and so it's a huge blessing to have that as well too. I feel very blessed, honored. I prayed for that when I wanted a wife, and at the same time, I feel like I've been blessed abundantly with it in ways I never even imagined. Right. So being given that gift and treasuring that, and then. Working with Danielle and Pasha, man, they were here for the week after the show on vacation, right?
Yes.
Beautiful beaches of Pensacola. That's one of the reasons why they come.
Smart idea.
And Melanie's hanging out with them more than I am. And it's so funny because we've competed against each other, you know, and she can just relate to everybody and make everybody else feel special as well too. So and it's so weird because it's a different platform, different atmosphere. Yeah. So
I like that because you bring about an aspect of this conversation, which is that partnership. You know, so we're not meant to really. I believe we're not necessarily meant to live life alone. Not to say that everyone will, you know, get married or have that long-term partner, but in general, just there's this ability to partner and engage with each other. And I think Life's a Dance totally did that. But in your life, I think there's something so beautiful. I mean, your family was involved in Life's a Dance.
Absolutely.
I mean, Melanie, again, a good shout out for her because she truly. We had the chance to meet prior to Life's a Dance, Melanie and I did, at a women's conference that we were both at. And I think Victor texted me, actually, because it was right when we started rehearsing. You're like, my wife is there. And I was like, yeah, I met her, which is a beautiful thing. But she just had this light and this beauty, but was raving about you, too. So it's that partnership and that love that's so important.
You know, I like to say about her, honestly, and it might be the cheese's house, but I love it, so it doesn't really matter. But, but you know, as you hear Life's a Dance, I really look at that and it's like, you know, the dancing part of that, that's me. But the life part of this whole business studio show is really her. She brings so much life to all this. I know I might be doing a lot, but she deserves a lot. So that at the same time, you know, this show wouldn't really even exist or be as big as it is if it wasn't for her. So
I love that.
And the partnership you mentioned, that's what dancing is. Dancing is a partnership. It has to, you know, come together. It has to sync. And I feel like there's a great partnership within us. We balance each other out. I think that's, like I said, again, grateful for the blessing, and it's, you know, been good. It's been great.
That's beautiful.
And same thing with you.
Yeah.
Right? Dancing with you was awesome.
It was so much fun.
You know, you can't do that very rarely. If you know, I have a saying, if you fail to prepare to fail, because what happens is if you don't practice as much, you can only expect so much, right? So our practices were like, we showed up, we just hit the floor running.
Full in.
And then you were like, hey, let's play the music. Okay, 2 seconds in, we just started. And it's like, so that's how it was. And I love that.
Me too.
I love that. I love that you just like, okay, let's put the music on, let's just dance it.
Well, you made it a safe space to be able to do that too. Because I think that's the other part is like, when you're going into any type of thing that's new for you, having someone that's coaching alongside you, because there's a difference in teaching and coaching. Like you can teach someone things and help them learn it, but the coaching is then I'm going to support you and help you adopt it so that it's part of what you do. And you really helped me feel so comfortable. And I know you did this with everyone because everyone was raving about this. Like everyone loved, it's funny because, you know, there were the couples that were dancing, and then when everyone else, like specifically the women, they're like, oh, you're dancing with Victor. And I'm like, maybe don't tell your husband that you would like to dance. But it was because there was just this, like, I had no doubts. I knew whatever was going to happen on that stage, we were going to have a great time and enjoy each other, but I knew that you were there. Like, you have every single person's back, and that's more than a teacher. Yeah. That's more than an instructor. That is that coach in that relationship. And I think that's really, for me, what was so powerful and important. I hated that I was moving. I loved that I was moving, but I hated that I was moving right in between it because I really enjoyed. Like, that was because I was going through a really you may not know, I was going through a really rough time when I signed on to do the show. Like, there's a lot happening. Yeah. And that brought a lot of like, okay, when I come in and dance with Victor, we're just going to dance. I'm not going to think about it, and the music is going to drive us, and we're going to have a good time. Yeah. It does.
It definitely brings a fun get away from the world type of thing, you know, and music does that too. It's not just dancing. You know, when you hear music, it like I said, the emotional part does that as well too. But I'll tell you, you know, hearing that is, everybody goes through things. Everybody goes through a lot, and there are moments where, you know, we're not there. I'm not there to do anything but let's show some light, let's have fun, and let's do it together. Yes. At the same time, because it takes both of us to do it, of course, and the partnership, as you mentioned. And it was a blast. I mean, I had so much fun. I hope you come back. I hope you. Yes. I want you to judge if you can.
I'm coming back to judge, y'all.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
Great. Spoiler alert.
I'm coming. Yeah. I'm coming in hot.
So yeah.
Well, and so thinking about that, when you think about the show and some of your favorite moments, would love to know your favorite moments. And then I know everyone would love to know what's next, because we've seen things kind of trickling in from social media. But let's first start with your favorite moments from this year's show.
From this past show, I think the greatest moments is we had 10, which was new to this show, we had 10 competing couples, amateur couples. Husband and wife. We had a couple that were just the two friends of mine and Melanie's that we put together that just learned to dance, and
they did so well.
And it was the same situation. Yeah, you know, they all have kids, they all have different lives, and it's like, you know, at least husband and wife can go, hey, look, let's bring our kid to practice at least, or you know, we can find a babysitter, or maybe they're old enough they can just travel and do it. But that couples competition really was huge, I would say. Yeah. And it's nerve-wracking for me because we work for, you know, 6 to 8 months of practicing, and I can't be out there on the floor. I'm not that security blanket in a sense where I could be with it as you and I. I was able to do it with one-on-one. And so I think when you look at that aspect of the couples, everybody in the audience really can relate, because they know they're jumping into a world that's not their element. It's not their, you know, their go-to, but at the same time, if you can get them to have as much fun as you and I had, which I think we were able to do within that show, they just had fun doing it. Yes. So there's no worry about mess up as much as just going, look, let's just have fun. Let's put the pedal all the way down and let's see how it happens and see what goes, right? And let's just make it work. And so everybody had a blast. Yeah. Everybody wants to come back and dance again, of course. But of course, we want like a new crop of locals in a sense.
Freshen it up.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we have coming is sort of very similar, of course, because you don't want to change it. But we definitely have 10 more couples. And you know what? Honestly, I could have 40 couples.
Sure.
Communication with the venues in town, of course, with the Sanger being as awesome it is, you know, looking at 4 or 5 more years of doing this with as many people as you want to have that have.
I mean, people were reaching out to each of us dancers saying, hey, how do I get in this? Like, how do I get to do that?
And that's a blessing. I don't take that for granted at all. At the same time, another difference is this year is we're adding 5 male single dancers as well, too.
Yes.
So now,
I love that.
As you know, last year I had about 6 or 7 like yourself dancing, and it's awesome. But at the same time, a lot of people just want to see some local guy here
someone that they can relate to or see themselves in.
Do their thing, and whatever they decide to pick, whatever music, whatever theme, that's what we do within their routine. As you know, we try to set the stage up for their routine and their song and their theme, whatever their costume is. And you know, the costumes can get fun, crazy.
Oh my gosh. I have my dress. It has been worn.
And I'm sure you're going to keep that forever.
I may wear it when I judge. Just get it. Yes. It was just.
It was all over the place.
Yes, it was amazing. I love hearing though what's coming next, because that's really exciting. I think one of the things that I think was really cool and what we had a chance to chat about was that Pensacola shows up. So they're showing up as they're wanting to be part of it. They're showing up and supporting. I mean, how much support have you gotten after? Like, talk to us about like the results of this show, this year's show.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I've done this show numerous times, but never got phone calls like crazy the days after the show, right? of other venues, wanting to see if we can do there, and places in town, that said, hey, look, thank you for the business that you brought to us the night of, right? And especially the singer, they were awesome. The way they handled things and the way they do it, and the communication we've had with them, and wanting to bring it back every single year, and working together. And that's the community part of it that I love the most, because it's so weird. Little guy from California, not this is not definitely where I saw myself, but at the same time, blessed to feel like that's what God has put me in, and the things that we have ahead of us I just feel like are so positive. Yeah. And I want to jump on that, and I want to bring everybody else with me. I love it. So I love the fact that we have some Dancing with the Stars people. We have a new, some similar ones, but at the same time, we have some new ones coming, still confirming some of them as well. Can't wait. And so, it's been fun. It's been great, and I'm looking forward to it. So you said something as we're kind of getting excited about the next show. I know we're all over the place. Yeah.
No, it's perfect. It's honestly, it's so funny because it's all like in this beautiful. It's not even close to all over the place. It's exactly where I'm excited that this is going. But you said something that I want to go back to, which you're like the little guy from California. I want to know more about that little guy, because with Fearlessly Made You, I always talk to everyone about like, what does that mean for you to be fearlessly made? And I'm hearing that come out in what you do. But that little guy in California, the little guy who didn't dance, probably didn't know really. I went to 4 proms and didn't dance at any of them. Are you serious? In high school. Wow. Yeah, so, and I don't know who goes to 4 proms, but at the same time. I mean, you too, Mr. Popular. Yeah, well, no, that's not what it was. But at the same time, my dad was I was a military brat. We traveled a lot, but I was born in California. Then we moved to Fort Walton, Destin area, and dancing was not on the radar. I think military was on the radar. I think getting through high school and just trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life. Yeah. And when I tell you that God slapped me over the face and said, this is what you're going to do, I mean, it literally hit me, and this door opened. I mean, I'm talking about, it was not just French doors. It was like a sliding whole back door, in that it was, I took one step in, I've never turned back. Wow. It was, I was very lucky to have the mentors I had. Yeah. And like I said, I was a little bit perfectionist from, learning that from my dad being a drill sergeant in the military. Yeah, absolutely. And so when I did that, I learned that anybody can learn how to do this. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I learned that everybody can learn how to do this. I learned that. But not everyone has that passion and ability to put that into dance like you do. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where I've been blessed with, look, I think this is what I'm going to do the rest of my life. And not everybody finds that. And I know I found it late. Thank goodness. My parents put me in gymnastics, and I played soccer most of my life. And I thought that's where I might be going as well, too. But once I found this, it was like I said, it just hit me, and I've taken it from there, and I've been, very grateful that He's blessed me with the road and the path, and I think the passion that people see in it is that I have the passion for others to experience this world as well, and that they can do it. So you can learn to do a dance on stage with 1,000 people on it, right? But at the same time, I feel like it's fun, and it can be fun, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Yes. And if you can get past it having to be perfect, you're going to succeed in most things. I like that, because I think that's a question that I have for you. So getting past the perfect, getting past whatever barriers we've put up for ourselves, the fear, the challenge, the struggle, what advice do you have for people who are like, oh, I want to do this, whether it's dancing or whether it's kind of stepping out into something new? Yeah. What's your advice for them to kind of move past that perfect? It's interesting you say that. When I started dancing, someone said to me, which is the biggest, quote, cheesiest thing, dance like nobody's watching, or, break a leg, all these things that people just say, just go do it, right? Mm-hmm. And just go do it, like Nike's thing. First of all, I'm a Nike fan. I love the just do it mantra or idea, right? At the same time, but of course, everybody has reserves. Everybody is cautious about what they're doing. What I think I applied to my own life was that I wanted to do something that was for me and for either my family or what benefited me. And I think that what people get within this show that we put together, they feel that same sort of
passion.
Yes.
And if you're passionate about what you're doing for whatever person it is, a client, rather it's a friend or a colleague or cousin or family, whatever, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing. That's what I love about this business. At the same time, I think being able to not feel like everything is a failure. Right, you know, I have a girl that 21-year-old that dances, unbelievable dancer. Yeah,
so we got to see her in the show. Oh my goodness,
yeah, Zoe Luna is.
Shout out to Zoe Luna.
Yeah, she's blowing me out of the water whenever her and her mom. I mean, she's just what she does, how she does it, the maturity and everything. But I have also two younger ones, a 4 and a 2, and you know, we dance at home. We teach them, you know, how to sort of properly do it, not just like have fun and, you know, yank this around and pull around like that, like I was taught sort of socially. So there's always a respect type of thing. You know what I mean? There's, you know, the way that I would ask for your hand, right? Yes. The way you would put your hand in there, right? Not just go, hey, come dance with me, right? So all those type of things. But also teaching my kids that, look, you can go for it.
Yes.
And you don't always have to be perfect at it. You know, what is perfect?
Right.
Right? There's so many levels of perfect. So that's how I feel about it.
I like that. I think that is the way, and especially I love that it's cascading to your girls.
Yeah.
Because that's so powerful and beautiful. And I think as people, we can get caught up in trying to do things the right way or doing what people are telling us things should do or look like. And it really just comes down to, but am I enjoying it? Am I building out my purpose? Am I sharing that? And I think that is something that, again, you know, y'all, as I always say, I love bringing people on the show that inspire me as well. That is something that I make sure that I build out, and I make sure I'm ensuring that the people around me are people who do inspire me. And Victor, you do, because there's just something beautiful about the way that you approach life. And I love that.
Appreciate it.
So I would love to kind of talk through a little bit for you as you're preparing for this new season. What are like lessons learned too? Because there were some great things that happened, but I'm sure there were some things that you're like,
absolutely. Yeah. Being more prepared, of course, as I said, and at the same time allowing others that have worked so hard to do it, let them do their part, you know.
Yeah.
Allowing, you know, being a perfectionist, again, you've got to be able to let sort of a team can work so much better than you can by yourself.
Yeah.
And again, I'll say it, I've said it a million times, what you're a part of, you know, is always bigger than the part you play.
Yes.
And so with that, I feel like, yes, I am the producer of the show, the director of the show, the choreographer, all of that. I'm in the show. But I feel like the team that we have, the way we put this together, the venue, the volunteers, the dancers, the pros that come to dance, myself, my wife, my family, brothers and cousins, everybody. It's a team, and so you've got to let people, you know, enjoy that and have fun, and that's the aspect of it.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and I think, too, what I think was really interesting is, you know, we've talked about the dance and the people that were part of it. There's such a, you know, we talked about Pensacola showing up, but then there's such a wraparound afterwards.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm curious for you after the show, so after everything is said and done, that week after, where now you're having a chance to reflect back. Now you're having a chance to kind of think through, you know, we did that. What are those feelings? What are those emotions that bubble for you? Do you kind of find yourself flashing back to, you know, little Victor who was like, what, this world is so foreign to me, to Victor now saying, this is something that I can really own and do.
Well, I think when you do something like I feel like that's that big, or you spent that much time on, you want to hear those. You want to hear those things, and you also, you know, it's like the dance that you did. You know, we can look at it and reflect. We had a great time here at that mark of the, you know, music, and then we nailed that part of it. And as you know, we were having so much fun with things within our show, our routine, that I would mess up and go somewhere else with it. Then you would go look at me and go, oh, let's do it again, right? And so and it's just it was an awesome blend.
Yeah.
But at the same time, looking back at the show and realizing some of the things I can do, I honestly, I think I've gotten to a point now that I don't look at it in a sense like, I wish I did this, I wish I did that, I wish this happened at the same time, because this is a variety show and it's live.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah, it's not pre-recorded, you can't edit it, you can't do all that, and so it's raw emotion.
Yeah.
right? And sometimes a lot of people are scared of that.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's very fearful,
you
right?
Can't like back up and say, let's try that again.
Let me reverse your mind real quick. But at the same time, you've been practicing this for such a long time. And you know, you can look at it as like the one wedding dance you get to do, you know, on that night. And it's important because it is important.
Yeah.
You have all your friends, your family, the ones you've invited, the local communities there. You have big local community members that are there to either watch or to judge, or they're in it themselves.
Yep.
And having all of that entwined into it, it's very difficult to look at this and go, man, what could I have done better?
Yeah.
Or what didn't go right? Right? Because I think if I did that, I'd be driving myself crazy.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I always look at it afterwards. Like I said, Melanie and I looked at it afterwards, and I just said, man, some of the things that we can add to this show. Spoiler alert, we have...
I'm ready. I love a good spoiler alert.
We have some groups coming in. We have this Hawaiian group coming in.
Yes.
I can't tell you everything, but let me tell you, you've never seen a Hawaiian display like what is going to happen at this show.
If you need someone to go to Hawaii to be the judge representation of Life's a Dance, just to support,
well, yeah.
I'm willing to sacrifice.
Yeah, well, we have a group coming from Orlando that is part of Disney.
Oh.
Right? So.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I mean, we're pulling all kinds of stops. We got fire going. We have.
Stop listening now if you don't want a spoiler. But I am here for the spoiler.
But at the same time, I want to bring that out to let people know that that's, you know, and so that brings.
And you have the ability to do that.
Yeah,
like the production has that ability.
Yeah, I love that as well too, and I love that. Other people want to jump in on this, right, as well too, and so, but that's just one sort of section of the show. The show has gotten so big that we're being told to sort of say, you might have to do it a little longer now. Of course, I don't want everybody to be there all night, but at the same time, if the show's awesome and running, then you know people will look at it like it just went by like that. So we have a lot of production groups like that coming in. So other ethnicities coming in. So we've contacted some HBCU dancers, and I don't know if you've ever seen their bands.
Yes,
let me tell you.
if y'all have ever seen FAMU. Oh
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and so that and just other, you know, like Latin groups coming in, and the couples that we have for the couples competition. I mean, they're just killing it right now with their themes and everything that they're getting because they saw this past year's show.
Yeah.
And they go, okay, hey, look, you know, we want to do that, but something different.
Yes.
So we've come up with our own theme together, and as couples who, let's just say we have a military guy, husband, and then a wife that has an insurance job or something like that. For them to be at home plotting that and doing that, that's what makes me go,
yes,
man, that's awesome.
It's part of what they're doing.
And it's so crazy that this little boy from California was able to sort of bring this together and have all that happen, in my eyes, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I feel like, you know, it's been a huge blessing.
And it's so interesting to me because something that I don't know if a lot of people know, when you were preparing, your studio flooded. And so there was all of this, like, I'm sure there was that moment of like, is this worth it when that happened? And there was like, I find that when we go through great trauma or stress, something even bigger and better is happening at the end of it. Yeah. So for me, I think back to like the day when you're like, yeah, so we're going to be rehearsing at this gym instead. And I remember thinking to myself, I hope he's okay. Like, because that's a lot.
Well, I always try to feel like, you know, I have this thing in my own head is that I never really try to let the devil win.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't even like them to play the game.
No.
To tell you the truth.
He ain't worth it.
And so when things happen like that, I honestly go, okay, hey, look, is there something I can change what I'm doing or my mentality? I think if I react, you know, a lot to my emotions, that'll cover. And my dad was very smart, very intelligent guy, and taught me one time, he's like, have you ever used the word maybe? You know, because maybe's big, right? So something negative would happen in my life when I was younger, and my dad would say, well, maybe this might happen. Maybe that might end up this way. And then when something positive happens, he was like, okay, hold on, don't get all excited, because maybe that will happen, and then waiting for whatever it is to happen that maybe, and being able to expect that. So I have a great understanding of what I want the show to be, or my life as well too, or my kids' lives and my relationship with my wife. But at the same time, I can't always jump into what maybe will happen.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? So that to me, I think, is one of the biggest things that sort of drives me on a daily basis. Yeah.
I love that.
Something to think about, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, one of the things I always love to ask, because I think there's so much that's coming down the pipeline. I'm so excited about it for you. But I also know that you have your family life, you've got Life's a Dance, you've got dance life in general. How are you finding the balance? What does that look like right now?
I put it all together. You know, I know some people try to separate this and separate that and separate that. It might work for them. It doesn't work for me. I try to integrate it all together. You know, as anybody else does with children, you wake up in the morning and it's like running, right? So dancing is sprinting. It's like you're doing this, you're doing that. I don't care if you're doing a slow dance or a fast dance, right? And so I feel like we get up in the morning, we sprint to get our kids ready, get them off to school, everything, breakfast, this, that, right? And then, okay, what's next? What do you have lined up next, right? And so, being able to do the dance that you have every single day. So, as you know, in our rehearsals, we would put, you would throw the music on, and we would dance, and we'd go, let's do it again because we didn't like it here, we didn't like it there, and knowing that we can just go, okay, rewind, let's try it again.
Yes.
Right? Being able to try again. And I say that with my kids as well, too. You know, my 2-year-old is talking up a storm and trying to tell me what sounds animals make. And if he doesn't get the moo right, I go, try again.
Yeah.
Right? So to sort of just not bring up the failure or anything, it's to go, okay, look, let's try again. Let's put the music back on.
Yep.
And so let's go back to 10 seconds or whatever we had it, right? And so try to do this right or to where it feels more efficient, not always perfect, right?
I love that.
So,
That's fantastic. I think it's a fantastic way to think about it because I think we get caught up, like you said from the very beginning, in being perfect. But if it doesn't work the first time, try it again. Yeah. And that's where you bring everything together. I love the, connecting point of like life is a dance. Like everything that we're doing is a dance. It's a movement. Which is beautiful.
I was asked recently, and this is where sort of people want to see, like you asked about what were the positives, what were the negatives, and so I always get like, who was your favorite? Which one was your favorite? Which one was this? Which one was that? And of course, because I feel like I've enjoyed everybody in the show, I don't really have a favorite.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I was asked the other day, well, let me ask you, I'm sure you get who was your favorite, but who was your worst? Like, who was your absolutely worst, right?
Me. It was me, guys. It was me.
And I'm on her show. No, I'm joking. No. And so, but I got that question, and I've never gotten it before.
Yeah.
Right?
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, exactly, because it's not that type of show.
Yeah.
Right? At the same time to me. And so when I got that question, I was like, wow. I don't think I've ever had somebody that was the worst. And I think when I feel like somebody is less talented, puts less into it, or thinks they're better than they are, right? At the same time, you've got to balance that out. And, you want that person to succeed as much as possible. Everybody has their own brand.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do their own thing, right? Not everybody is smiley, happy, energy, going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And so I felt like this one routine I put extra time into it. I put extra thought into it. I wanted this female to feel like she did as good as everybody else, right? Very powerful person in her own right. And I love the fact that, and I wish everybody was like that, but I felt like I needed to add people from Dancing with the Stars in her routine. Yes. I feel like I needed to have her feel that.
Yes.
Right? So instead of going and, oh man, this is going to be tough, this is going to be crazy, so on and so forth, because everybody's this tough.
Yes.
Choreography is not easy. It's not easy to just go, let me sprinkle that dance thing on you and go from there. But I feel like being able to pull different things in and go, okay, think out of the box. Honestly, be fearless. Try to think, okay, look, this is not how everybody perceives this, but this is what you and I perceive it. Let's go for it and let's do it and let's make them see what we want to do, right? Because I think that when you look at ballroom dancing and how it is, you know, if you look at how they did it back in the day, and everything has to be like so perfect, the alignment and everything of the body and all that stuff. But it's like, you know, the amateurs and pros, the Dancing with the Stars pros, the So You Think You Dance pros, ballet dancers, they want to see dancing. They want to see fun.
Yes.
And so when you look at somebody that maybe is not perfect, it's like they're not perfect to you.
Yep.
Right? So you can add cosmetics, you can do all of those things, but at the same time, you get a person to have fun and just be themselves and dance like nobody's watching. Yeah. Dance like,
I love that.
know, every all that, and you'd be surprised how that comes about. And that's the reason why I've not ever had that question. Yeah. Right? So when I got that question, I was like, that was interesting.
Yeah. But I think that, and it's a perfect way to kind of end our time together, is there is that ability to just, I love the dance with like no one is watching, but there's a reality to that.
Oh, absolutely.
It's that enjoy, authenticity, change things up if you need to, but make it yours. And I love that. And that's why I so much love having you on Fearlessly Made You, Victor.
Well,
thank you so much for joining us today. It was
I can't believe it's already over.
I know, it's like, are we already over? And as always, guys, make sure you always stay tuned to the next episode of Fearlessly Made You.